everyone, so today I'm answering some questions on my channel. I just want to thank everyone who either clicked on this video, means you're actually interested in my channel, and anyone who also has a question, I appreciate it. When was your first time camping alone? First time camping alone was actually the first video on this channel. I usually go with friends, and that was a big reality check because if you've never went winter camp before, you have to clear a lot of snow, you have to collect a lot of firewood, you have to prep your camp. There's actually a lot of work that goes into it, and if you're a small group, then it kind of goes quicker and it's more enjoyable. When you're alone, it's work. It's definitely work. And it was my first time filming too, so I was absolutely exhausted that day. Do you prefer camping alone or with company? So I do prefer it with friends. Like I mentioned earlier, for winter camping, the workload is kind of split up. But not only that, if you can have the worst weather, the worst situation, the hardest hike into camp, and if you're with the right people, it'll be enjoyable. However, if I'm filming, I prefer to be alone. My friends are super supportive. They want me to film, but I'm just super incredibly shy in front of the camera around people. So for that reason, I do prefer to be alone. I'm also on my own time schedule. So yeah, to answer your question, filming alone, to enjoy it in general. Not that I don't enjoy it when I film, but to enjoy it in general with friends. Scariest thing to happen to you while camping? Well, one time I ran out of beer, so that was pretty bad. But no, really, there's nothing really to be afraid of here. Obviously at night when I'm camping alone and I hear noises, I kind of wonder what it is, but there aren't any bears around here. I think I've had one bear sighting in the past 8 years where I am. There aren't any animals I need to worry about. There's no venomous spiders or snakes around, so I just remind myself of that, and there's really nothing to be worried about. Honestly, the worst thing out there is mosquitoes. The one time I would say I was concerned is whenever I go ice fishing on a lake, and I did one this year alone for the first time. And I do test the ice before. Ideally, you want to test the ice the day before. So I had been there, I think the day before that, and the ice was completely fine. You could have parked a car on that ice, it would have been fine. But in the back of my mind, you know, if I fall through, I'm alone out here, no one's gonna really know. So I wouldn't say I was scared, but there's definitely concern for that. Hammock or tent? So I was always a tent person. I really like the idea of hot tenting or building like a bushcraft shelter. However, a couple of years ago, a friend of mine set up his hammock and he said, hey, why don't you give it a try? I think he was just testing the tree to see if the tree was strong enough. And honestly, that day or after that trip, I went home and bought myself a hammock. It's really comfortable. They're really easy to set up. You don't need flat ground. You just need 2 trees. So as long as you know where you're going in those trees, you're good to go. And honestly, I actually get better sleep in a hammock. Not everyone does, but I actually get better sleep. So for that reason, I go hammock. Hot or cold? So definitely cold by far. In fact, the reason why I made this channel was for all the winter camping, the bushcraft shelters, and the hot tenting. You'll see in summer it's kind of a mix of kayak, backpacking, all kinds of random stuff. I do like to try to put out 1 video a week, and winter my goal is to do 1 camping video a week. Summer I camp less, so you'll see it's a mix of other stuff. I just find a fire more enjoyable in winter. Camping in general, it's just a whole different experience. Honestly, I think everyone who likes camping should definitely try winter camping once. I completely agree that it's not for everyone, and I respect that, but I think if you're into camping, you should give it a shot. What do I do for a living? So I originally did my auto mechanics. I immediately went back to school and did my diesel and heavy equipment. So I fix 18-wheelers for a living. I'm also forklift certified, and I did something before my trades. I went to school somewhere before my trades, let's put it that way, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Why not in French? Fait que pour ceux qui savent pas, je suis moitié québécois, je suis capable de faire le français, mais je suis bien plus à l'aise en anglais. En bref, c'est juste ça. Je suis bien plus à l'aise en anglais. Quand je suis avec mes amis, on parle de mélange des deux, mais moi, mon cerveau, il marche en anglais, sauf quand je fais de la mécanique, par exemple. Mais non, c'est vraiment juste ça. Je suis plus à l'aise en anglais. What kind of company would you like to be sponsored by, beer or gear? So let's talk about gear first. Gear, I haven't even thought about this really much. Like, I'm still starting my channel, I'm still figuring things out, and I don't want the added pressure of having a sponsor and having to like post videos and get X amount of views. I don't really know how it works, but you know, I don't want the added pressure at the moment for that. Also not sure how I want to approach the whole sponsor thing. I'm not really for trying to sell stuff that I wouldn't use myself, you know. So I'm not against it in the future, but for now it's really not a priority for me. Two companies that do come quick to mind though, being in Canada, obviously there's Mech, which is like our equivalent to REI. People who don't know what REI is, it's like one of the biggest, arguably the best backpacking store in the US. So Mech is like our equivalent of that. And there's also Sail in Quebec, which is a bit like Bass Pro Shop or Cabela's. It's an outdoor store, you know, fishing, kayaking gear, all that kind of stuff. Reason why I say those two is because they have a big mix of gear from all brands and not just dealing with one specific brand. But for now, honestly, not really a priority for what I'm doing. I'm more focused on just figuring out how to do this whole YouTube thing right now. I'm not against the idea in the future, but we'll see. There's a way to approach it, and I have to figure that out. So let's talk about beer. I do not want a beer sponsorship. Reason being is I think that would defeat the whole purpose of the channel, of me trying different beers, trying beers from different companies, trying different styles of beers. The whole point of it is for me to try beers from all over the place, and I feel like having a sponsorship with one company is going to negatively affect that. So for that reason, I don't think it's a good idea. I'm not completely against the idea in the future, but I don't think if it doesn't suit the channel, I won't do it. Basically that. However, if companies want to do like what Russell Brewing did, they messaged me and said, we made a batch of, this is a mango bubble tea wheat ale. And they said, we made a batch of beer. Are you interested in trying it and letting us know what you think? So, free beer, I'm in for sure. They sent me 4 beers, sent me a t-shirt, and there was no catch. They were just like, let us know what you think about it. So obviously I'm going to feature it in some of my videos. And if any company wants to do that, I am completely okay with it. In fact, I encourage it. So cheers to them. And it is a little early, but by the way, I am going to be a bit biased to this beer. Not because of the fact that they sent it to me, but I am also part Caribbean. So mango, right there, it's a win. And then bubble tea is actually one of my favorite drinks. I love all forms of liquid calories, but bubble tea is great. The best flavor, by the way, is taro. And let's try it. That's a good beer for a summer day. Honestly, it's a nice little citrusy beer. Cheers, guys. Sorry, the next question is a little long, so I'm going to read off my notepad. You're open about learning as you go. Did you decide to buy lots of gear and just start camping, or were you raised with camping and decided to start again? So yes, I did camp as a kid. My dad used to bring us camping, fishing, canoeing, all that stuff. It was always in like drive-in campsites, if that makes sense. Like the one I'm in today, you kind of just park your car, bring out all your gear. It was always like that. We did go to really nice locations though, but I kind of lost interest in that when I started just playing video games as a teen. I wanted to stay home and play World of Warcraft instead. In my 20s, I started watching YouTube, got a bit more interested in like the whole bushcrafting thing, and I watched guys like Joe Robinette, and it seemed really interesting, but also seemed like you need to be a professional to do it. Like take Joe for example, he is, you know, he's been on the show alone, he's a survivalist, like he knows what he's doing, you know. So I never thought that your average Joe could do this. I didn't mean to use his name twice there, but I didn't know your average person could do this kind of thing. So that's also one of the reasons why I'm very open about learning is, you know, I have no problem saying I'm very new to lighting a fire with a ferro rod. I never needed to in my life before. I would just bring some Canadian Tire flyer and a lighter and get my fire started that way. I'm not good with guy lines because I never had to do that either. Tarp shelter is something I need to learn. Like a lot of this is a learning experience for me, and I have no problem being open about that because I think like other people watching as well, you know, if they want to start doing this, there are safety precautions to take, obviously. Oftentimes when I camp somewhere alone or I winter camp, I started winter camping with people first. then I started going alone. Most of the places that I camp alone or I hike and backpack in alone, I've been to before. There are safety precautions to take, but I'm very open about learning because I want people to know that, like, anyone can do this. If you want to try this, you can do this. There are obviously precautions to take, like I want to stress that, but anyone can do this, and I think if you're interested, you should try. So yeah, it's basically why I'm open to the fact that I'm learning. I can easily edit a video to make it seem like I light my fire on the first strike of the fire steel. I can edit my videos to seem like everything goes perfect, but that's just not the reality of it, and it's also not the angle I want to go with my channel. So, as for the comment with the gear, all the gear you've seen in my videos I've bought over the past 5 years. I genuinely like buying different gear, depending if I'm backpacking in or, you know, if I'm winter camping and all that. I like to have different things and I like to have different options. And I already have my next tent picked out, which is a hammock hot tent. It's basically a little cabin looking shelter, and the reason why I want that is because I'm planning on introducing a few friends to winter camping. I think for them to have a warm place to hang out and to sleep would be nice and make it more intriguing to them. So we'll see how that goes. So if I could camp anywhere in the world, where would it be? Right off the bat, you know, I'm thinking Iceland would be nice, Isle of Skye in Scotland, Alaska. One place I would love to go back is Japan. There's a big campground at the base of Mount Fuji I would like to camp. But the one place that's on my bucket list to go, and I wanted to go during 2021, but the pandemic had other plans, is actually Everest Base Camp. Now it's not much camping, but it's more of a backpacking hiking trip. It's a 14-day hike from Lukla in Nepal, and it's a 14-day round trip and it leads you all the way to base camp, so that would be the one. And for the last question, by the way, I do appreciate it. It shows people actually care and are interested in the channel, which I really appreciate. So thank you very much. How did you get into filming and camping? So for the camping part, about 5 years ago, I decided to buy my first gear to go winter camping. And I just never went because I had no one to go with. So I kept planning it and just not doing it until one day one of my friends in a random conversation brought it up that he wanted to go winter camping as well, without knowing that I wanted to go. So we kind of looked at each other and said, okay, we're doing this, you know. That winter we picked out a day, a third guy joined us, and we did not know the temperature. We sort of just picked the day a month in advance and said we're all free that day, we're going. It was minus 20 Celsius, which is about zero, right below 0 Fahrenheit. And it was freezing, but it was one of the most memorable camping experiences because we were all learning, and it was a great time, honestly. So since then we camp maybe 2-3 times a year, and I could say now I'm very comfortable winter camping now. As for filming, so I did mention I was a diesel mechanic. Between high school and my trades, I did go to college, and I was in media, so basically filming, editing, radio, even claymation, stuff like that. I learned the basics on all that. I'm by no means a professional. I actually lack a lot of imagination, so that's where I need a lot of work in all categories, but especially that aspect. But yeah, it wasn't that hard of a transition to just bring a camera and edit videos, so here we are today. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers, and I will see you in the next video.